seller's markets in some, you got buyer's markets in others, and that's why we say overall it's balanced, but it doesn't always feel that way. If you're a buyer looking at $400,000 properties, it doesn't feel so balanced because it's not. That's a seller's market in there. But if you're a buyer shopping for 800, it's a buyer's market, right?
No, nobody wants you taking your cues off.
There you go.
Hashtag when the show went off the rails.
I'd like to welcome you back to Real-Tor Talk. I'm Murray. This is
Jesse.
We took a little hiatus. We're calling this season 2 now because we took that little break.
That's right.
So as always, we're going to deliver the same kind of quality to you guys of content where we want to bring you stuff about home ownership and real estate. We're always going to do our local spotlight. And for sure, we're going to make sure we have some fun along the way because that's the most important part of this whole thing is that it's fun and entertaining for everyone.
That's right.
So with all that said, Jesse, what are we going to talk about?
Well, when you talk about, being able to provide people with great real estate knowledge, right, but also having fun, we're going to try to do that with our boss today. Our broker, Michael Froese from LePage Prime will be joining us a little bit later on. So we are going to be on our best behavior.
Yeah, Jesse, maybe. Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see if we both get fired by the end of it.
See if I'm at another broker after this episode. No,
we could get our releases.
We provide information to you guys all the time here on Real-Tor Talk from the great training that we get from Michael. So we thought, who other better person to have on the kickoff of season 2?
Yeah.
And I think it's great because you know what? I know season 1 had 6 episodes, but it's like those new shows out that stop
Small doses.
Yeah, right. They stop in January. And you're like, where did my favorite show go?
Did we leave you a good cliffhanger?
Yeah, see? Well, no one died or no one came into money or something.
We could arrange that next time.
We could. Well, there's only 2 of us. Oh.
Well, might be a one-man show later.
Murray wants to go on his own. I guess that's the way he told me. No, but excellent. Yeah, thanks so much for, you know what? I met a person that said that they watch us during their lunch break. Man, that's amazing. And no, it wasn't my kids that watched me.
It was his wife. Actually, she may have never watched us.
No, I don't know if she even noticed that we're on YouTube. Anyways, okay, so Michael's going to join us later on. But like Murray said, we always love to do every episode a local spotlight, whether it's, eating, drinking, something that's produced here in Winnipeg. Support local. We're always about that, whether it's real estate agents or something else. So what do we got today?
Today, we put a little picture montage together of the village at Pine Ridge Hollow. So this place is kind of near and dear to my family. We've been going there since my oldest was a little baby, and we started just kind of doing a little Thanksgiving breakfast deal there every year, and then it kind of grew and grew, and we ended up going more and more to the original restaurant. And now they've opened this little part of shops called The Village, and they actually film movies there. And when we did the picture, they were doing a movie for Christmas. So
yeah, one of those Hallmark movies.
Fake snow and stuff happening.
Yeah.
So might not look like it should have at that time, but that's okay. So we just took some pictures of some of the local shops there. So the Empty Cup is there, New Burger is there. They have a ton of craft beers on tap. They've got some clothing stores there, an antique shop. There is an awesome little market that has everything from baked goods to meat and frozen goods. And it's fantastic. So it's a great place to go check out if you got some time. It's not far outside the city, and it's just worth the look. So I think it's always worth for everyone to check these little places out, and it's 100% local, which is kind of what we're trying to get across the point here is that we want you to shop local and support these local companies.
Sorry, I was just saying because Murray said it's outside city, so it's just outside Birds Hill. Yes, we wanted it. Yeah, for
just
sure.
outside Birds Hill.
Yeah, so it's very
super
easy.
Close.
Yeah, you could go through the park, right?
You just got to park on the other side and walk in. They have a gate and everything to get you into the village area from there. Yeah. Or you can come up through between Elmhurst and Pine Ridge.
That's Garvin Road, right?
You'll take Garvin Road to it, and then it's Pine Ridge Road.
There's a sign there. Very easy.
Super easy to find. They got signs the whole way. When they first opened, there was no signs. You were kind of on your own trying to find it. A little challenging, but worked out.
But worth the treasure hunt.
For sure, for sure. So let's check out this video.
Enjoy it.
And we'll be back.
So as you saw there, what an amazing place.
Yeah, it's great there. I mean, prior to the village being there, we went a lot. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty cool place, right?
Yeah.
But
No,
it's definitely a great place to go hang out and have some drinks. And
I like it because it's got a little of everything. Like you said, shop and have drinks and stuff like that. We ran into friends of ours and they were just shopping for like some food and stuff like that. Like, and they said they do it all the time. So,
and had a burger, but you didn't get to see that because I ate it way too fast.
No, we didn't get to see that. And he didn't offer any of his burger to me. But anyways, no, I'm supposed to do this. No. Okay, let's get on with the show because we have a very special guest that we really appreciate his time. Michael Froese, the broker and managing partner here at LePage Rhyme, is joining us today. Can't let our boss wait. Yeah,
we can't let him wait. Okay,
let him bring him in. Oh boy, you let him wait longer than normal. We're not in the same building. Thank you, Michael. Because Prime, we've got 3 locations, right? Kenaston, Henderson, and
Portage.
There you go. So we're all over the place.
All over. I got it covered.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, again, thanks for joining us on the show. Because in the episodes before, people listen to us, but we always thank you because a lot of the great information and great teaching comes from you. So thanks again for joining us today.
Well, you're very welcome. And anything that I've told you probably came from somebody else anyways. So.
Well, at least you're honest about that.
There you go. We're honest people, right?
Repackaging, right? It's all about it. It's just repackaging, repackaging.
We're still going to give you all the credit, Michael.
Yeah. What are those books behind you there? That's probably where we've got some of
them. Oh, yeah. Those are on the things I wish I read. Yeah.
Michael always bugs me. I've been with Prime for 8 years. And whenever he says, podcast or there's a book to read, and he looks at me and he goes, I know you're not going to read a book, Jesse. It's like, no, I was done in high school about 30 years ago. So
it's okay. We started just drawing cartoons for you, you know, the little stick figures and holding it up. Was that, have you seen Between Two Ferns, like the movie Between Two Ferns, where she has to like draw out his day for him and all that? It's like,
you know, if you could do it in a flip book, I'm down with that too, because then it keeps my hands moving, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, it's good.
All right. Well, we do get great knowledge from you and you from other places as well. And let's dive into that right now. We are kind of in the peak of the spring market, as we like to call it. And what are some of the things that you're seeing out there that now this is kind of the most busiest time of the year for the real estate calendar?
Well, I would say, I mean, as speaking just from a realtor standpoint, and I'm sure you guys are in agreement with me, thank God, it's about time we got a little bit busier. It was definitely a slow first quarter. This all is, you know, we can't talk with the market without talking about COVID, you know, and what happened the last 2 years. We were in this super hyper accelerated market, you know, for 2 years, just every month getting busier and busier and prices soaring and skyrocketing. And then what happened again mid last year about this? Well, just end of May, beginning of June, you know, that's when we saw the interest rate hikes and we saw inflation, you know, just was out of control. And we started seeing our market then just slow down every single month from June. We saw sales activity decrease and we saw prices come down slowly but surely. And then we actually kind of reached bottom in January of 2023, was the lowest amount of activity, lowest price point. And since then, now it's, you know, I would say as we move away from Christmas, as we move away from that dreaded winter that we all had, things start getting better and better. And so now we're into, we just finished April here. So again, April improved on March and March improved on February and so forth. So we're just, as you mentioned, entering now this peak of the market, which is what we experience kind of every year. And it's, you know, and it's a great time for buyers and sellers right now as the warmer temperatures approach.
Yeah, I think if we go back to last year, and I think some of the ways that we move forward with our clients is not ignoring the past, but to actually use the past, because we have to draw upon that yes, last May was the highest number when it came to residential detached sales. We have to now look even before that of saying, let's look at the curve. Your house didn't go down in value. It continuously has increased in value. And so, but tied with that now to the present, we talk about past and the present now, these last couple months, when you mentioned last year, interest rates kept going up and up and up 8 times in a year. The last couple months, though, it's kind of helped buyers out.
Right. Well, yeah, rates have stabilized. I mean, so far, for the most part, right now we've kind of been, you know, well, been surprised a little bit with the hikes, and sometimes some of the hikes came quicker and some of the hikes came, you know, larger than we thought. So, but right now it seems they've held the rate the last couple updates, and so with that stabilization now, buyers can sort of, they can budget. They can know, okay, this is probably what my rate's going to be. This is probably where it's going to hang out. And again, historically speaking, I've seen rates anywhere right now been advertised, to mid fours to low fives. Historically speaking, this is still astronomically low interest rates. We're just comparing it to, the, free money they were handing out
Yeah.
for the last couple of years. This is still, again, and that's when we talk about the market, everything is about perspective. The more we zoom out, the more perspective we get. And like you said, if somebody says, well, my house, I bought my house, or you're looking at the peak of the market last year, average sale price in Winnipeg was 454 in April last year, and it's 410 at the end of this April. Well, that's a decrease of 10%. But if you just zoom out and keep looking back, well, that's a very small percentage of people bought their home, last year and are looking to sell it now. But that's pretty rare. So if you go back though, looking even pre-pandemic, 2021, well, your house, I'm just looking at my numbers here, you're up 23% from 2020 and 2019. So, that's incredible. I wish my stock portfolio looked like that. Right. So it's all about perspective when it comes to real estate. It's just zooming out, when you look at the market on a much broader, deeper perspective, things are really good. We are though, I was on a call earlier this morning too, and I was talking to the guys about, if we just erase the last 2 years, pretend COVID just didn't happen, which would be great. Right? Just pretend it didn't happen. We're pretty much where we were at 2019 going into 2020, kind of how we thought. We actually thought things were going to be slowing down a little bit. Going into 2020, there was talk of recession because Trump was on his way out and all this stuff, if you remember, and then just 2 years of craziness. So we're kind of right back into the fold of where we were pre-pandemic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just to add just on Michael's last thing, I think more and more of the last 6 months, 6 to 8 months through when I sit down with people that are considering to list their home, where before it was like, hey, I'm going to give you a 3 to 6 month snapshot. It's to fully understand, because you might have seen your neighbor down the street last year sell for this. I need to show you that graph before that, just so you understand what I'm eventually going to tell you. Because at the end of the day, and I seem to have these conversations a lot, is it's not us realtors that dictate the price. It was not us that were shooting numbers out of space last year, right? It was a dictation of, or reflection of, the market around you, what buyers, interest rates, it all comes together, right? So, but yeah, I know you kind of felt the same way, that going back even
you're
further,
giving way different information than you
take that COVID year and a half to 2 years and kind of put it out of the conversation. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned realtors dictating prices. I remember, I can't even remember how, this was before COVID and all that, and the prices were escalating in Winnipeg, at that point. And I remember there was somebody, can't remember, I ran into them, they're like, oh, these dang realtors are setting these prices, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, now, hey, I'm very proud of our profession, I'm proud of our job, I'm proud of the agents like yourselves, who really carry the standard of our brokerage and of our industry. But at the same time, I wish I had that much power to control the market.
Exactly.
Like, are you serious? Like, I control the market. I set the prices in the marketplace. Like, what kind of, like, I'm God all of a sudden? Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me know. I love
buyer,
this differently, right?
Yeah.
So it was almost laughable to me. I was like, you think that a realtor, like, fresh out the course, like, he sets the market prices? Like, that's not the way any market, let alone real estate, works. Anyway, so it's funny when when people blame realtors for the market. That's some power I wish I had. I don't know if I wish I had. I probably use it unwisely, but yeah.
Broker managers, they have a secret lair in Winnipeg, and every week they go down into a cave and they dictate the market.
Yeah, exactly. Like, here's what I want to happen, but for my house, I want
going on.
Yeah, no, all good. Yeah.
So Michael, like, we see in the headlines how crazy things are dropping and all this stuff, and we know it's kind of based on the bigger markets and that. But what makes us quite a bit different from the other headlines that we're seeing there? Like, what's really driving?
Yeah, like
like our city compared to Toronto and that, like.
Yeah, well, I mean, Toronto, Vancouver, they get all the action when it comes to the headlines, right? Kind of like Leafs fans. But Winnipeg, where we kind of buck the trend, is a couple of things. The biggest one, of course, is our affordability, right? So when they have, their price drop, they go down 10%. Well, that's $150,000. Like, our 10% is 30-40 grand. So we just don't feel it as their swings as much as when they're in these higher price points. So our affordability really is our calling card for Winnipeg. It always has been, and it probably always will be. The other thing, I hate talking about the weather, but we are behind in weather, right? Like I have family in Victoria, they've been golfing and picking picking tulips and or flowers and whatever else. Their gardens are blooming for months now, and so their spring market happens a lot quicker. So we're just sometimes a little bit behind as well, where people start being. We just started shedding the parkas not too long ago, right? So now there is a bit of that aspect as well, where just our spring market comes a little bit later than the rest of the country's. But predominantly, it's our affordability and the fact that, like right now, as predicted, first-time buyers are really pulling the market along now. Like we're talking about the bit of a rebound now from the last 6 months, or sorry, it's the back half of last year, I should say. It's first-time buyers. Half of the market right now is 75% of the market right now is under 500. 35% of the sales in April were under 500,000. 45% obviously then over 500, and under the 500, half of them were between 300 and 500. So it's really that meat of the market there, that that first time buyer entry level. That's what's really where the most activity is, and they're the ones who are bringing the market back.
Yeah. And back to the weather thing, I think here in Winnipeg, as we kind of bring it back home a little bit more, the public, have seen how the listings have started to come up a lot more at the beginning of May, because when we had all that snow melt and then we got dumped again, I mean, it kind of holds the real estate market, pause for a bit, because there's people. I have buyers that say, I want to look at the perimeter of a home. I can't see that when the snow. Then you have sellers going, I really want to showcase, especially rural properties. When you say it's 5 acres, let's see that whole property.
Yeah.
So yeah, weather, I've been seeing that over the last couple of weeks for sure. Yeah.
The big, and this isn't weather related at all, but the biggest thing that I'm hearing from my clients right now is, oh my gosh, that house has been on the market for 40 days. What's wrong with it? And trying to explain back to them, this is normal. And they don't see it. So what kind of advice do you have for our people watching out there, Michael, on that? Like, I mean, it is normal, right? But it's
right. Well, and I'd say every market is local, right? We call it a hyper local market. It's just, even painting Winnipeg with one big brush is not correct. Every neighborhood has their own vibe, their own speed of the market, different price points. Like I mentioned earlier, right? With the price points, you look at the 800 plus, the luxury market right now, it's not as rebounding as quickly as the lower price points, right? They're struggling up there. There's lots of inventory in that case. Whereas in the, like I said, the 300 to 500,000 market, it's very active and busy. So it really depends on, for a home buyer, 40 days, might be a lot for one neighborhood and one price point, and it might be just the beginning of another listing. So, and depending on where you are, and if you're outside the city as well. So that's where, like, the trusted advice of a great realtor, such as you guys, really comes into play, because you have to navigate those nuances, right? Like we laugh about, we don't set the market, we don't dictate the market, but what we do is we help navigate and guide people through it. And it's very specific, neighborhood to neighborhood, street to street in some cases. And so that would be my best advice for any buyer out there is, get a good realtor, because it's very hyper local. And that 40 days, that's just a number. How you interpret it is up to you guys and up to the realtor. It could be great. That could be fast. It could be slow, depending on what you're looking for.
I kind of have it just on buyers and time frame and stuff. I'm so happy that when I meet people through an open house or, in a first meeting, and, someone says, yeah, I'm looking to buy my first home. And I said, you know what, if this was last year, I'd be getting you to lie on the couch. I'd be putting your feet up, lighting a vanilla candle and going, okay, we're going to do this together and everything. But it's a lot easier now for buyers because of maybe some time frames. They have a little bit of the flexibility that maybe they didn't have last year. We're seeing more inspection conditions writing on offers, which is good. I would still recommend to buyers out there, though, if you have an offer date, maybe do that pre-inspection. So if that's something that needs to be taken off later, but I've been seeing that a little bit longer financing days too. I remember last year, it'd be very uncommon for me to go over 2 days for financing as a condition. Now we're going back to that 5 days. So I feel better for buyers in this market. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. The last 2 years have been absolutely horrible for buyers. It was a real tough slog. My wife and I, we were even looking personally for a little while in the last 2 years, and I was like, oh my God, we soaked it into renovating instead, because, it was tough. It was challenging. So this is a much better pace for buyers. It's kind of, I've been in this business now 15 years. My dad's been in for 45 years, as you know. So this thing I've been around real estate my entire life. But in the 15 years I've been a real estate agent and broker, I have not known a market without bidding wars. There's always been multiple offers on properties for 15 years. It's just the intensity of them, the frequency and the intensity is what's changed. So that's kind of the usual healthy clip of our Winnipeg market is, if you're seeing 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3 homes in multiple offers, that's a typical spring market. And so that means 3 out of 4 aren't getting it, aren't getting multiples, which again, increases your negotiating power as a buyer. So, but again, this time last year, it was almost 80%. We're seeing multiple offers selling over list price. So thank God we're not there anymore.
About that multiple offer. So I know I've had a lot of people ask me, and I know that you're on various other, channels and, on the radio and TV, and you probably mentioned this stuff last fall. And I know talking to us as well, if we go back to September, October, and I know because this is what people say to me, what's 2023 going to be like? Well, at that time, in all of our interviews, it was, well, we're doing the soft landing. How many times did we say that? Soft landing is coming, balanced market. So recently I've had some people, maybe you can speak on it, is why are we seeing offer dates then? Is it the inventory's low? Is it the interest rates low? Because if we go back to the last fall, we weren't supposed to have this, were we?
Right. Well, the soft landing, was kind of predicted for the back half last year. I would say it wasn't as soft as I would have liked personally. It did seem to go a little bit down. If the landing was a bit more sharp than I was expecting, but nonetheless, what we did expect it was a balancing act, right? And what we have seen is a much more balanced market than where for sure we were in a hot seller's market. And now we're into more of a balanced market. But back to kind of what I said earlier, it depends on, that's where, like, again, balanced market on the big macro side of things, right? When you look at just the sheer numbers, you get sales and inventory, that gives you your absorption rate, your months of inventory, and that dictates whether it's buyer's or seller's market. But again, that's why we have a buyer's market in the luxury and a seller's market if you're at $399 in a 1,200 square foot bungalow, right? And that's a seller's market. So you got seller's markets in some, you got buyer's markets in others, and that's why we say overall it's balanced, but it doesn't always feel that way. If you're a buyer looking at $400,000 properties, it doesn't feel so balanced because it's not. That's a seller's market in there. But if you're a buyer shopping for 800, it's a buyer's market, right? And sellers they're in it for the long haul. So that's why, again, it's just so important to be specific with the market and where as a buyer or a seller. That's why, I love the question. I get it. You get it too all the time. How's the market? Well, tell me about yourself. What are you? Are you a buyer? Are you a seller? What's the price range? Because it completely depends on that. So we did see, that's where the balancing act overall comes from, which is what we predicted was a balancing act. It's just, where are you in that act? Are you in the seller's side of things, or in the buyer's side, or in the seller's market side of things, or in the buyer's market side of things? But we did see first-time buyers bringing the market back. That was so they were going to be the first ones once interest rates stabilized. We saw them. That was going to be the highest level of activity, and that is definitely what we're seeing now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Another question?
Yeah. We talk about people needing to use a realtor and brokerages and all that stuff. And I mean, we've had those conversations with people, but give us your take on why people should come down our path and use a realtor and a broker, and maybe even give them an idea what a broker does a little bit, because they probably don't know.
No, and we're not asking for like a sales pitch, but we talk about it all the time on the show. If you know what, buyers, if you're looking right now, if you call before the end of the show, you'll get a 50%. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Hey, so you can give away your money. You can't give away mine.
Michael's
all coming from Jesse.
This is a joint thing.
No, well, not close to that.
No, but honestly, they hear it from us, but from your experience,
not a sales pitch, Michael, but just an idea of like.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. Being in this business, being in this industry for so long, and again, growing up in it, it's when I see people try to go, and I've even got sucked into the trap of, well, maybe I'll just. I had some rental properties I was going to sell. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll try to just sell them. And I'm like, what am I doing? And I go hire a realtor, and I've hired realtors before, and it's like, oh my, I show up and the offers are there, right? All those things are taken care of for me. And so it's really, again, when you get expert advice, good sound advice, the world right now it's not short on training, it's not short on videos, and everyone's got advice, everyone's got tips. Like, look at your Twitter feed, it's all it is follow me and I'll get rich quick and all this stuff. But actually good sound counsel, knowing your situation, knowing exactly what's going on with your family, what's important to you, what matters, and then getting good solid advice is like worth so much, because the world is cluttered with crappy advice or one-off advice or templated advice. But to have real sound personalized advice is really what I think the realtor brings to the table, in addition to the exposure and all that kind of stuff on MLS and through your brokerages. And if you're talking to Real-Page prime agents, they're well trained, and there's a whole team of people behind the transaction that takes care of all the things that no one ever sees, right? You kind of, as a buyer or a seller, you sign on the dotted line and woohoo, you high five, and then all the stuff happens and you have no idea what's all the people and all the work going on behind the scenes to make sure that transaction goes smoothly and takes care of everything. So that's also a huge part of it, is just that worry free, that just sign the paper and let everything else take care of itself, which is really us taking care of it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, good. Before we let you go, Michael, we talked about the spring market. We're at the peak. Us realtors are here standing by to take your phone calls. There's a sales pitch. Get a free t-shirt.
Got it.
Just a quick snapshot, as if people are like, you know what, I didn't go into the spring market. What's kind of are we looking for the rest of this year? I know things kind of slow down a little bit in the summertime, ramp up again in the fall, but how are we looking from your kind of what you've looked at so far of the rest of this year should go?
Yeah. Well, again, I'll always pull up my crystal ball at this time. But yeah, I mean, this is where history will teach us what to look for here. Right now, our first 4 months, again, we're pretty well mimicking life before COVID. And so I expect it to look like a typical year before. Again, if we just took out those COVID years, I think it's going to look a lot like that. What that means is typically here, we're still ramping up in spring, or we'll see activity come up in May and June. And that's typically our peak is May, June. That's when we talk about peak. It's usually when it's the highest amount of activity, usually the highest price points are reached. And then, like you mentioned, it sort of mellows out for summer a little bit. Where people like to golf and seize the moment and take advantage of the only 2 months of heat that we get in this beautiful city we live in. So we got to do that, and then again, usually there's a tick up, and it's weird because I've been tracking this for years. Sometimes it's September, sometimes it's October, kind of weather dependent. There's a little bit of a last burst before the white stuff comes and winter comes, and that's when we start seeing activity again go back and mellow out for the winter until the next spring. So that's what we expect to see. Although I don't expect to see a lot of intensity. The spring market is here, but sales are still not like that. Market activity is still considerably down from where we were. So I don't see it being as an intense spring. Again, depending on that price point, but it is going to follow that sort of trend where it's going to keep going here. Activity and prices will go up the next 30, 60 days, mellow out, little shot up in the fall, chilling out for winter. So
trends.
That's kind of, that's how it goes every year. So I'm expecting it to, I don't know why this year would be any different, other than, of course, world events, interest rates, government intervention, more strikes, who knows what's going to happen. All it takes is Trump tweeting something and all hell can break loose. So who knows?
Yeah.
But that's what it should look like anyways.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. Well, Michael, I know we jumped around a bit on a bunch of different things, but we only had you for a limited amount of time. So we really appreciate your time and out of your day for this, because it's important to us, and I'm glad you could spend some time with us.
Well, thank you very much for having me, guys. I love doing this stuff, and kudos to you guys for starting this podcast, for continuing with it and being consistent with it. Good job, and I love watching, and hopefully I can be on again sometime and say that I was not completely wrong. That'd be great.
Second request. I like this from the
we'll-
guest they're asking to be on.
There you go. We'll make sure we do. Maybe towards the end of the year, we'll have you back on. You can,
Wow.
your predictions.
We'll have to
compare.
we'll have to up the green room, the waiting room that he was in. You know, we didn't send like a fruit basket while he was.
Yeah,
waiting.
you know, I only eat the green or the red Skittles, please. Just
Okay.
We have to remember that.
We'll send that
Temperature
over.
set at 82 in the room. Is that okay? Or-
temperature was okay. It's just the Skittles.
Okay, good. Nice. All right, thanks,
Thanks a
Michael.
lot, Michael. Take care.
All right, guys. Thank you.
That was good. Is he gonna slam? Did he slam or you
He
cut
slammed.
him?
I didn't do anything.
He slammed. I just want to know. I always like how people, you know,
He left on his own.
especially with the boss. You know, I
Yeah.
wanted to see him like let him.
You didn't want me to cut him off?
No, no.
We're done.
Lay him down gently.
you go.
But no, you know what? That's the one great thing I will say, that it was nice to have Michael on, because as a broker to us, it's constant knowledge of how the market is going. And that's how we as realtors every day, whether we're at Safeway or the gas station or our kids like hockey games, we are a walking billboard. We are a walking, you know, Wikipedia on the real estate market. So it's great to have Michael on and stuff, and
Yeah.
especially now, a lot of questions out there.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. Like a lot of people don't know about the market, and you know the one thing I say about Royal LePage Prime is that Michael mentioned training in there, and the amount of training and effort he puts behind it to make sure that we're educated is insane. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for a better brokerage to be at. So if you're looking for a brokerage, might be a good place to come
Ooh,
to. But
little-
that's kind of up to you. But I can tell you my experience here has been fantastic, and I know Jesse's has as well. And,
Well, aside from when he says the training, you have to read a book.
ah,
I'm just not. I can't. When was the last time you read a book?
at a previous company,
Don't
we
lie
did
here.
book studies, and we had to present part of the book
Like a book report.
back to the group. Yeah. So
Could you
no.
take like a shoebox and like have like a little diorama?
No, I didn't go that far.
Man, that was my favorite part. I said, "Who wants me to build something out of
We had-
clay?" I
We had
got you.
PowerPoints, not.
Oh, PowerPoint. No,
Not
no,
your
you
little
had
Goonies.
things like hanging like stars and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
with your
no, I did it.
diorama
We
and
did
stuff.
that in elementary, but you know, we've kind of graduated.
Are you saying my listing presentation to clients nowadays with my shoebox is wrong?
It could be. I gotta
This
see this.
is your house inside the
Please
shoebox.
bring this.
Here's the- Well, we all have different styles. If you want to hire Murray, he might not bring a diorama. No, I'm just kidding. See, those were good times. That is one thing that kids nowadays, they do not get homework. I know we're going off topic here, but it's the end of the show. They don't get homework. And I was looking forward to building the volcano and making a mess at home.
I bet you.
Nothing.
I bet you if you brought your little diorama to sales, you'd sell more houses.
I might be able to.
Anyways, completely off topic. What I want to talk about just before we wrap up
Much
here
better topic.
is Ronald McDonald Children's Charities. I just want to mention that on May 10th, it's McHappy Day, and they've been doing this since 1977. So to support it, all you got to do is go to McDonald's that day and buy something. Doesn't matter what, buy something. All food items on their menu contribute towards a donation towards Ronald McDonald Children's Charities. And I've been deemed the Fun Socks Realtor by some of my clients, and they were actually selling these socks. I don't know if they're still available. I think they're like $8 for a pair of socks with a Big Mac on them and whatever else on here, the McHappy Day logo. So I'm gonna be wearing these, sporting these puppies on McHappy Day. But if you do have a chance, it's a great charity to support. It does help children. There's a Ronald McDonald House in Winnipeg. So if you get that chance to actually support it, please drive by McDonald's. I know if you don't eat there often, that's fine. Go grab, I don't know, fries, grab
Buy
a
us
puppy,
lunch.
doesn't matter. Yeah, you know, find us, bring us food, whatever, but check it out. It's something worth supporting on that day.
I thought you were going to model these socks by throwing your foot up on the desk here. I was,
Oh no, I got poker
Okay,
socks on today.
no, nobody wants you taking
You
your
wanna
shoes
keep my
off.
socks? There you go.
Hashtag when the show went off the rails.
Awesome.
Hey,
There
have
you
you tried? Have you tried the chicken Big Mac?
I
Their
have
new one?
not. I have not.
It's okay. I'll stick with the original. Not that, you know, if McDonald's Canada wants to, you know, send some for the show,
We'll tag them
I will tag them
and
every.
we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching.
Welcome back. Thanks
Yeah.
for joining us back here. Tell your friends and family. And if you guys ever have any questions about real estate, like we said a million times already, peak of the spring market. So you guys have questions out there, listing, selling, looking at homes, whether it's something to do with the bank, whether you're looking for something for taxes. We're the people that every day we live and breathe this information and this
Yep.
knowledge, and we're here for you guys. So whether it's on the show or stop us in the street or buy us McDonald's, I'll talk over a lunch, right?
Whatever works for you guys. Take care. Have fun. We'll talk soon.
Take care.